You're listening to the Coach's Journey podcast, exposing the struggles and celebrating the successes in the life of coaches who are action takers and creating authentic impact in today's world. Whether you're just starting out, expanding your reach, or exploding your impact, you're in the right place right now. Stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Now, here are your hosts of the Coach's Journey podcast.
This is where I want to go into, because a lot of coaches are also deciding where do they want to go, how do they want to help people. And at least what I'm getting is your coaching is a mix of mindset coaching and business coaching in there, consulting.
Absolutely.
There. So you've brought in both strengths. I actually have a certification in that, which is a mix of the two through Mind Valley as well. And I think it's a very world to be in. I'm curious to hear your thoughts and I've had some of these conversations with our group members too. I will get on a call with them, and a lot of people call themselves coaches. And I think we're also kind of trying to set up like, what is a coach? So business coaches are primarily more, yes, they do help you think through a lot of things, but they're more like consultants. But mindset coaches, they help you dig deeper and help you reset some of the stuff, get rid of some of the mental blocks, go deeper with you. And there are different types of those. And I actually had a conversation yesterday with one of the members in the community. And what I found out was that she was a financial coach, which by the end of it, I realized she was a financial consultant. And I asked her, I'm like, well, how do you approach your sessions? Like, well, I help them make sense of their finances, and I give them a system so they can get out of debt and focus on growing their finances. And then she did say, she's like, sometimes people say things like, well, she was talking about an entrepreneur where she was undercharging, and she's like, why is that person undercharging? And she even asked that question, why are you charging that? But she didn't know where to go after that. Like, that's where you don't have training on the coaching side enough. So what are your thoughts about that? How would coaches, what are your thoughts about coaching in that region? And how do you recommend coaches approach this?
Yeah. So as a business coach, I would always tell people, nobody is going to care about your profitability in your business more than me. And so I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you to identify how to make tweaks in your business to be able to improve your profitability. And then I'm going to hold you accountable. And I think that accountability is the difference between a consultant and a coach. A consultant will tell you what to do and maybe even give you an awesome binder that sits on your shelf of their recommendations. But a coach is going to is going to be there right alongside you, holding you accountable to actually implementing the recommendations or to helping you identify what your strategy is, help you make a commitment to that, and then holding you accountable to what you say was important to you. Whereas a coach is really about, let me ask you some questions, and then I'm going to give you some solutions. And then I hope that you implement those things, right? And so I think that's the big difference for me in between a business coach and a business consultant. But when we think about mindset coaching, I don't know that you can do, business coaching and really hold someone accountable without the mindset piece of it. And I think that goes for any type of coaching. We have to address the mindset because we're working on this, the transformation, and the transformation doesn't just happen by someone wanting something and then getting the answer. That the transformation has to happen inside ourselves. And I always say, who do you need to be in order to do what it takes to have what you want to have? And so a lot of people can get really clear on what they want to have, and they'll set goals about what they want to have. And then they'll even have the action steps, like, what do I want to do? And that's often what a consultant does, right? They help you get clear of where you want to go, where are we going to take this thing, and how are we going to get there? The next piece of it, and this is the coach piece, is who do I need to be? And so a great coach is going to be helping you to develop the qualities in yourself around the identity shift that has to happen for you to be able to step into that next level of success and confidently take the action that successful people take in order to get those things done and to have the success that they want. Because we don't wake up as future successful us every day. We usually have to remind ourselves of those things, right? We have to practice habits that will get us into the right mindset and that gets us into the right energy to be able to take those actions. Because most of us have this internal thermostat where if we are trying to move outside of what our identity thermostat is set at, and we're like, yeah, I'm going to try to take 90-degree actions, but we're actually a 70-degree person. then our 70, the thermostat inside us is going to try to pull us on back and say like, no, we can procrastinate on that. No, it's not that important. We don't, or we're not worthy of that success. Or if I do that, it's all those fears that creep in.
Yeah.
And so if we aren't addressing the identity piece, then we may have success for a minute, but we're going to find ourselves right back where we started. And sometimes self-sabotage to a place where we're even like farther back than when we started, and we'll go, what happened? And it's the internal work that we missed. And I think consultants usually will miss that. And that's why coaches are so important.
I love that distinction there. So at least what I heard there is that coaches need to deal with mindset. Consultants give you a system and process. And then the reason why I said is those who are listening, if you're calling yourself a coach, then there is a piece of training or awareness you need to have on where you don't just tell people get up and take action. You help them make sense of that in relation to who they are or who they're becoming in relation to their identity. Would you say that's accurate?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things I think as a coach that's also so important for us is that we help people. There's a formula for change. I don't know. Are you familiar with the formula for change? Can I share this with you?
I'm about to be.
Okay, great. Great. Okay. So the formula for change is D times V plus FS must be greater than R. And so the D is for dissatisfaction. So our personal dissatisfaction with where we are in our life. And it could be with our health, our finances, our relationships. We have coaches listening who are in all of those categories, right? So we have to make sure that our level of dissatisfaction is then multiplied by our clear vision for the future. So as a coach, we also have to help people get clear about what they want. And most people don't even know what they want. Because in reality, nobody's asking that question. What do you really want? And most of us haven't allowed ourselves the luxury of setting aside expectations of other people or what other people need of us or what we think our role should be to take time to answer that question. So as a coach, that's such a privilege that we get, is to help people cast a clear vision for the future. And then also as a coach, we get to help them with first steps. And so that's our FS. So it's dissatisfaction times a clear vision for the future plus first steps must be greater than R, which is resistance to change. And so most people are comfortable, like I was talking about, like we get comfortable and we're even suffering in comfort. We'll have an extra glass of wine at the end of the day to make ourselves feel better. And so our resistance to change is like, it's bad, but it's not that bad because I have a really, comfortable paycheck. And so I don't want to leave, but but I don't love this. And I know it's limiting me and I know I'm capable of more. And so our resistance to change can be really high because of some of those comfort factors. But as a coach, if we can help people to identify their level of dissatisfaction and help to elevate that, because in some situations, that resistance to change is high because things aren't bad enough. Yeah. And we aren't even looking at how bad it actually is or projecting into the future. If I keep going down this path, I'm going to have no retirement, right? I'm going to have, my relationship is suffering. And what if that goes, continues to spiral downward? We're just trying to be comfortable for another moment. And so if we can help people to, elevate their level of personal dissatisfaction by looking at what's really going on in their life. And if we kept going down that path, what's going to happen? And then helping them to identify what is their clear vision for the future, and then identify those just first steps. And sometimes those first steps are just how to start coaching with you. That sometimes that's all people need to know is like, we just shine a light just a few feet out. And if they can see that there is light that they can follow and just take a few first steps, then if those things are greater than their resistance to change, then they're going to start working with us, but they're also going to move, we're going to move towards their clear vision for a better future. And, I think when we're presenting someone an opportunity to work with us as a coach, we have to get through, we have to help them to go through that formula for change, or their resistance to change just stays. They just go, nope, I'm okay. I can make an excuse as to why now is not a good time, or I have to talk to my spouse, or I, don't have enough money in my account, or whatever those reasons are. But if we can help them to elevate those things and make them greater than their resistance, that's when the change happens. And as a coach, one of the things that we have to do is invite people to solidify their commitment to change. And the only way that that happens is with an exchange of dollars, because where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And so we all solidify our commitment to change by spending money, right? If we think about it at the beginning of the year, what is the, what do? We go buy shoes, we join a gym, we hire a trainer, we buy the workout gear because we're solidifying our commitment to change. If I buy this stuff, if I buy the Peloton, I'm going to start working out, right? The same thing is true with coaching. When people have a high level of dissatisfaction, they look for a way to solidify their commitment to change. And we get to be, as coaches, we get to be that solution.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love that.
So as you're saying this, I'm thinking about your own journey, and that you're part of this class, this course that helped you kind of put some structure around what your next steps. I'm wondering and I've got to use the analogy that you used with the thermostat. Andrea, what made you hotter?
Yeah. When I first started in real estate, one of the very first things that I did, because everybody was like, how did you get so many deals? And I could tell you about that, but the question that nobody was asking me, and then this is part of what I help people with today, is to identify who do I need to be, and then to write really clear affirmation statements around who I'm going to show up as. And so that was really a big piece of it, is getting clear about who do I need to be in order to do what it takes to have what I want to have. And so if you want, I would love to share my affirmation statements with your listeners. Would that be okay if I tell you? Because
absolutely.
These are the things that I continue to say, out loud to myself on a regular basis. Let me see if I can find them here. Oh yeah. Okay. I'm going to pull them up, and I should know these by heart, right? Okay. So I'm going to share with you my affirmation statements, and I call these the truth. So this is the truth about who I am becoming. And so beyond just like patting, just saying, oh, you're doing fine, you're doing great, affirm, affirm. I say, no, this is the truth about who I am becoming. And so I claim these things every day. I am bold. I take action. I am strong. I get through challenges and lead others. I am kind, even in stressful situations. I am disciplined. I keep promises to myself. I am tenacious. I can do hard things. I am a developer. I create opportunities, not wait for them. I am an attractor of multi-million-dollar deals. I am inspiring. I am authentic. I make a difference. So the moment that I decided to become a real estate investor, I started saying those things out loud to myself. And your brain doesn't know the difference between what is true and what you tell it. And so your brain goes to work to say, oh, excellent. We are disciplined. Let's prove that's true. We are tenacious. Okay. So when you feel like quitting, that's the thing that pops into your head and says, no, I'm not a quitter. I am tenacious. And just by the way, all of those statements that I just shared with you are things that are the opposite of the things that are my limiting beliefs. They're the things that I've had to overcome. And the stories that I tell myself about the failures that I've had in my past and how I've quit so many things and, what I'm not capable of. And so I took those limiting beliefs and I had to turn them into the truth, and then to remind myself of that truth, because I don't show up as that girl every day. I got to remind myself who I am. And so even as I was starting to say those things out loud as a real estate investor, and then got the opportunity to be a coach and the network, and I'm helping other people to overcome their limiting beliefs and to step into their next level of success. I think, as you're elevating your thermostat, as you're elevating your identity, that's also where sometimes that dissatisfaction will start to creep up again and say, wait a second, am I just being comfortable? Am I capable of more? And, am I holding myself back because of fear? And so we can do one brave thing, and then we prove to ourselves that we are brave, but then what's the next brave thing? Because we haven't, I didn't arrive when I did a few deals. It's like, who do I need to be next so that I'm actually stepping into my potential?
I love that. So as you were speaking those affirmations or those truths, are those the same truths then that you're speaking out in your marketing so that you are attracting the women who also want to be that way?
Yeah, I share those things a lot, but a lot of times the marketing that we're talking about is I'm not always sharing like what it looks like on the other side all the time. Sometimes I'm talking about the pain. Like, after this session today, I'm going into my Facebook group and doing a session that's called I'm Stuck. Because when people read that, they're like, oh my gosh, me too. And I think two of the most powerful words in the world are me too. And if people can see their story in your story, like, and where you've come from, or, and they go, no, that's the pain I'm feeling, and I need to figure out how to get out of it. And so there's a balance of that. And so I will share those affirmations, but it's usually in response to something that we need to overcome, because that's where people go, oh yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I really love that. And I want to circle back to something that you said, but I want to ask this question. So a coach jumps in, since you've had some success in this area. Coach is like, okay, they've either come out of a certification or they've trained themselves in some way. However that has happened, like, okay, they put on the hat of a coach hesitantly. I'm a coach. I'm going to go get clients. So from what you know and what you've been able to implement, what are their next steps? What do they need to do to build a consistent client flow? What needs to happen? And how can you do it in a simple way, not in a complicated way that's tough?
Yeah. So I mentioned that one of the things that I did to launch was a workshop, and I just promoted it on my own Facebook page, like my own Facebook personal page. And, over the last few years, I've been really intentional about adding friends to Facebook, because I know that connections are what make the world go round, right? The relationships. And so just for clarity, I have almost 5,000 friends on Facebook. And so when I posted my workshop, I had 500 people RSVP for my workshop, which is a lot without promoting it with Facebook ads.
Were you active before that when you posted that?
I was posting pictures of my grandbabies and posting pictures of mostly family stuff, because after I sold my
grandchildren.
I do. I have 2 grandbabies. Thank you.
I would not have guessed that.
I know, right?
Yeah. So I would primarily post personal stuff, and I did post and share when I was, launching my real estate thing. And then I've made lots of friends from the networks that I've joined. And so when I posted that workshop, and I think part of it was like the name of the workshop resonates. It's a very clear, like, here's the clear value and here's who it's for. And that's really important. And so I hosted that workshop. Out of 500 registrants, 250 showed up. And then I learned a lot in that first one, because I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many people joining. I'm just going to share my offer and people are just going to flood in and sign up. And so guess how many registrations I got my first night that I did that workshop?
How many?
One registered. And I was like, oh crap. Okay. So I really should have done the thing that they teach you to do, which is instead of making your offer, instead of just saying like, here's my offer, it's $19.97 and it's a 6-week program, click this link and join, right? That was good learning for me, because I thought, well, all these people know me and they like me and they trust me. They're just going to flood into my program. And it didn't happen. And so what I had to do over the next couple of weeks is I posted my event through Eventbrite. So I got all of their email addresses, and so don't do a Facebook event, because you get no one's email address from a Facebook event. But I got all those email addresses, and I was able to follow up with them and to send them an offer to book a bold breakthrough session with me. It's a free 30-minute complimentary coaching call where we're going to dig into your goals, understand your challenges and what's stopping you, and see if we can help you have a plan to get unstuck and see if it's a good fit for us to work together. And so over that next couple of weeks, I did about, 30 sessions with people. And that's where my sales came from. That is where it came from. And so that was a good learning. Everybody learned from what I did wrong in my first workshop. But then I realized I had a lot of people reach out and say, hey, I wasn't able to attend your workshop. When are you doing it again? Are you doing another one? And so I went ahead and did an encore event that was, just under 4 weeks later. And so for that one, I only had 70 people register, 35 people attended. And instead of sharing the whole offer, I said, this is what I do in my program with people. But tonight, what I want to offer you is a breakthrough session, 30 minutes with me, one-to-one. I didn't tell them what the cost of the program was. I didn't say, go ahead and click here to sign up. I just offered a free breakthrough session. And I had 14 of the 35 book immediately.
That's
and
awesome.
Yeah. And so that's one of my pieces of advice to you. Host a little workshop. You don't need 500 people to register. I got 35 attended and 14 actually signed, joined, registered for a session with me or booked a call with me. And then of those 14, I think 8 of them said yes to my program, right? So you don't need hundreds and hundreds of people. You just need a handful of the right people with the right offer. And for most coaches, especially if you're first starting out, the right offer is simply, let's book a session to like, let's do a complimentary coaching session together, and we'll see if it's a good fit for us to work together.
You're listening to the Coach's Journey podcast.